What if the only thing holding you back from the life you dream of is a single choice you're avoiding right now? Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind whispering promises of a better future on the other side. The gap is wide, the jump terrifying, but the path to everything you've ever wanted lies just beyond that leap. Every day you face a choice. Take the jump or stay where you are, safe but stagnant. Stoic philosophy teaches us that action, not hesitation, bridges that gap. Are you ready to make that choice today? Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly turn dreams into reality, while others remain stuck in the same place? Year after year, picture two seeds planted in the same soil. One grows into a towering tree, its branches reaching for the sky, while the other withers, buried beneath the weight of indecision. The difference isn't luck or talent, it's consistent action. The Stoics, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, knew that the secret to progress lies in moving forward, even when the path feels uncertain. What seed are you nurturing in your life right now? What if the regrets you fear most aren't the mistakes you might make, but the opportunities you never seize? Visualize yourself 5 years from now, looking back at this very moment. Will you smile with pride at the steps you took, or will you wince at the chances you let slip away? The Stoics remind us that time is relentless. It marches on whether you act or not. This video will arm you with 8 Stoic strategies to break free from hesitation, build unshakable discipline, and turn your time into a tool for transformation. Let's dive in and discover how to make every moment count. Part 1. The power of action. Over hesitation. The journey to a fulfilling life begins with a single, undeniable truth. Waiting is a trap. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. They fail because they wait for motivation, for the perfect moment, for a sign that they're ready. But as the Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The modern world bombards us with distractions, from endless notifications to the seductive pull of procrastination. Yet, the Stoics, centuries ago, understood that the only way to break free from this cycle is to act immediately, decisively, and consistently. Act now. Stop overthinking. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a frozen lake, the ice thin and daunting. You could spend hours analyzing its thickness, calculating the risks, and debating whether to cross. Or you could take one cautious step, then another, and soon find yourself on the other side. Overthinking is like lingering on that shore. It's the graveyard of progress. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow"? How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because you hesitated? Neuroscience backs the Stoic wisdom here. When you hesitate, your brain shifts into analysis mode, scanning for threats and crafting excuses. The longer you linger, the stronger this paralysis by analysis becomes. Your mind begins to associate action with discomfort and avoidance with relief. But every moment you delay is a moment stolen from your future. Marcus Aurelius put it starkly, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If today were your last, would you waste it debating whether to act? Or would you seize the moment, knowing it might never come again? The solution is simple yet powerful. Act now. You don't need more time, more preparation, or more confidence. You need movement. Start small. Stoicism teaches that even the smallest action can break the cycle of inaction. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Need to send an email? Write one line and hit send. Want to exercise? Do a 2-minute stretch. Need to work on a goal? Open the document and type the first sentence. These tiny actions signal to your brain that movement is happening, and once you start, momentum takes over. Consider Newton's first law. An object in motion stays in motion. Your mind works the same way. A single step makes the next one easier, and the third. becomes almost automatic. Successful people don't wait for perfect conditions. They create them through action. Imagine two aspiring entrepreneurs. One spends months researching, planning, and overanalyzing, convinced they need every detail perfected. The other launches a basic website, contacts a handful of clients, and learns through experience. A year later, the first is still planning, while the second is running a growing business. The difference? Action. Seneca's words ring true. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Overthinking amplifies fears that often don't exist. Fear of failure? You only fail if you refuse to try. Fear of imperfection? Every great achievement started small and flawed. Fear of judgment? Most people are too preoccupied with their own lives to care. The challenge is clear. Think of one task you've been avoiding: a conversation, a decision, a project. Do it. Now, not tomorrow, not next week now. The moment you act, hesitation loses its grip, and fear begins to shrink. That's how change begins, not with grand gestures, but with small, deliberate steps. Don't quit too soon. The path to success is rarely a straight line. It's more like a winding trail, with moments of excitement followed by stretches of struggle. You start with enthusiasm, your goal shining like a beacon. But then resistance creeps in. Progress slows, doubts emerge, and the temptation to quit grows stronger. This is what psychologists call the valley of disappointment, the phase where effort is high, but results are invisible. It's where most people give up, convinced they've failed when they were inches from a breakthrough. Think of a gym packed with hopefuls in January. The first 2 weeks are electric, endorphins surge, energy flows, and change feels within reach. But by February, the crowd's thin. Why? The body is slow to transform. Strength isn't built overnight. It demands showing up, day after day, long after the initial excitement fades. Those who quit assume they're not good enough, but the truth is simpler: they didn't stay long enough. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Failure isn't a single event, it's the slow accumulation of choices to give up. Consider two friends, Ethan and Daniel, both dreaming of starting an online business. Ethan spends 6 months researching, watching tutorials, and taking notes, always waiting for the right time. Daniel, meanwhile, launches a messy, imperfect website in a week. He gets his first client, then his second, learning through trial and error. A year later, Ethan is still preparing, while Daniel's business is growing. The difference wasn't talent or resources, it was patience and persistence. Success is built brick by brick through consistent action, even when progress feels slow. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." The real challenge isn't the task itself, it's staying in the game long enough to win. Imagine planting a seed. You water it daily, but the soil remains bare. Frustration sets in, and you stop. Unseen beneath the surface, a root system was forming, ready to break through. If you'd kept watering, that seed would have grown into something extraordinary. Success works the same way. You may not see results immediately, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. The question is, how many times have you stopped just before the breakthrough? How many goals could you have achieved if you'd pushed through the plateau? Your challenge is to endure. When progress stalls, when doubt creeps in, when quitting feels easier, that's the moment to keep going. The 99% who fail quit too soon, but you don't have to be one of them. Call to action. If this resonates with you, hit that like button to show your support, and don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Stoic Life for more insights to fuel your journey. Share in the comments, what's one thing you've been putting off that you'll commit to starting today? Part 2. Overcoming barriers to action. Stoics teach us that the greatest obstacles to progress aren't external, they're within us. Perfectionism, fear, and reliance on motivation are traps that keep us from acting. By embracing Stoic principles, we can dismantle these barriers and build a mindset that thrives on consistent action. Perfection is a trap. Imagine a sculptor facing a rough block of stone. The first cuts are crude, the shape unclear. Does the sculptor wait for the perfect chisel or the ideal inspiration? No, they start carving, knowing each imperfect stroke brings them closer to a masterpiece. Perfectionism is the opposite. It's the illusion that you need flawless conditions to begin. It's fear disguised as preparation, keeping you trapped in a cycle of planning without doing. How many people do you know who dream of writing a book, starting a business, or getting fit but never take the first step? They're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect idea, the perfect plan, the perfect confidence. But as Epictetus said, if you wish to be a writer, write. Perfectionism isn't progress, it's paralysis. The musician who searches for the ideal instrument but never plays. The entrepreneur who takes endless courses but never launches. The person who researches diets but never exercises. They're all victims of the same lie that success requires perfection. Psychology confirms this. Studies show that those who act, even with incomplete information, learn faster and achieve more than those who wait for certainty. Action creates feedback. Feedback drives growth, and growth leads to success. Waiting for perfection, on the other hand, wastes time. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Every moment spent tweaking a plan is a moment not spent building. Consider two writers. One waits for the perfect idea, the perfect conditions, the perfect inspiration. Years pass, and their book remains unwritten. The other writes daily, producing terrible first drafts but improving with each one. By the 10th draft, they have something worth reading. The difference? One started, imperfections and all. The same applies to any goal. You don't need the perfect website to launch a business, the perfect routine to start exercising, or the perfect confidence to build relationships. You need to begin. The biggest mistake isn't doing something poorly, it's never doing it at all. What project have you been postponing, waiting for the stars to align? The fear of imperfection is just fear of failure in disguise. But every great achievement was once rough and flawed. The challenge is to take one imperfect action today. Write the first page, make the first call, step into the gym. The moment you start, the fear weakens and momentum builds. The ones who win aren't those who wait for perfection. They're those who dare to begin. No one is coming to save you. Picture a soldier on a battlefield, radio silent, no backup in sight. He can stand frozen, hoping for rescue, or pick up his weapon and fight. Life is no different. Deep down, you know the truth. No one is coming to save you. The world doesn't pause to check if you're ready. It moves forward, with or without you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The only way to win is to take full ownership of your path. Yet, so many wait. The employee who dreams of a promotion, but never builds new skills. The friend who wants a better life but never acts. The person who blames their circumstances, their past, their boss, the economy for their stagnation. They wait for someone to notice their potential, for a mentor to guide them, for a sign to act. But nothing changes until they change. Take Sam and David, both stuck in jobs they hated. Sam waited for a raise, for recognition, for a magical opportunity. Years passed, and he was still complaining. David, however, took action. After hours, he learned new skills, applied for better positions, and built his escape. A year later, Sam was still stuck. David had moved on. The difference? David saved himself. Stoicism teaches that you control only your actions, thoughts, and decisions. Everything else, luck, others' opinions, external events, is beyond your grasp. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." The world owes you nothing. but it rewards those who create their own opportunities. How often have you told yourself, if only someone gave me a chance? What if no one ever does? Will you wait forever, or will you act now? Look at history's greats. Elon Musk didn't wait for NASA to invite him into the space industry. He built SpaceX. Oprah Winfrey didn't wait for someone to lift her out of poverty, she climbed. Tom Brady didn't wait for talent scouts to crown him a champion. He trained relentlessly. You don't need permission to succeed. You need to build your own door. Stop waiting, stop blaming, stop hoping for rescue. The moment you take responsibility for your life, you become unstoppable. Call to action. Loving these Stoic insights? Smash that like button to keep the wisdom flowing, and subscribe to the Daily Stoic Life for daily inspiration to take control of your path. In the comments, tell us, what's one area where you've been waiting for a sign instead of acting? Part 3. Building unshakable discipline. The Stoics didn't just teach action. They taught how to sustain it through discipline, focus, and an acceptance of life's unpredictability. By mastering these principles, you can turn fleeting motivation into a lifelong habit of progress. Fear never disappears. Face it, fear is like a shadow. It follows you everywhere, growing larger the longer you avoid it. You feel it when you step outside your comfort zone, when you face a big decision, when you're about to take a risk that could change everything. It whispers, what if you fail? What if they judge you? What if you're not good enough? Most people wait for fear to fade, for confidence to arrive, for certainty to take over. But as Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward despite it. Imagine James, who dreamed of starting a business but was paralyzed by fear of failure. He stayed in his safe job, watching others take risks and build lives he envied. His fear didn't fade. It turned into regret, the realization that staying still was worse than failing. Then there's Alex, who felt the same fear but acted anyway. He started small, took the first step, and discovered that fear loses its power when you move. Each action made the next easier, not because fear vanished, but because he learned to act despite it. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Your mind exaggerates threats, creating worst-case scenarios that rarely happen. Think of public speaking. Before you step on stage, fear grips you, sweaty palms, racing heart, a mind convinced you'll fail. But once you start, the fear fades. Not because it's gone, but because you're moving. This applies to every challenge: asking for a raise, switching careers, making a tough decision. Fear is loudest before the first step. Once you act, it quiets down. What fear is holding you back? What opportunity have you avoided because it feels uncomfortable? The Stoics teach that fear never disappears, but you can choose to walk through it. Take one step today, no matter how small. The moment you move, fear loses its grip, and you gain control. Discipline over motivation. Motivation is like a spark, bright, fleeting, and unreliable. It feels invincible when it's there. But what happens when it fades? When you're tired, uninspired, or overwhelmed? If you rely on motivation, you'll start and stop endlessly. Discipline, however, is the fire that burns steadily, regardless of how you feel. It's showing up when every part of you wants to quit. Marcus Aurelius captured this. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. Neuroscience supports this Stoic principle. Every time you push through resistance, you strengthen neural pathways that make discipline easier. Over time, showing up becomes second nature. But if you wait for motivation, you reinforce inconsistency, starting and stopping with no progress. A disciplined mind doesn't negotiate, it executes. Think of elite athletes. They don't train only when they feel motivated. They show up, tired or not, because it's who they are. Great writers don't wait for inspiration, they write through doubt and rewrites. Successful entrepreneurs don't work only when they're inspired, they grind through setbacks. Discipline is an identity shift. You don't act when it's convenient, you act because it's who you are. Ask yourself, are you chasing motivation, or are you building discipline? The person who waits for the perfect mood will always be chasing it. The person who masters discipline becomes unstoppable. Start small, but start consistently. Do the work, even when you don't feel like it. That's how you build a life of progress that focuses on what you can control. Life is unpredictable. Plans fail, circumstances shift, and outcomes often defy expectations. If you try to control everything, you'll be exhausted and frustrated. Epictetus offered a clear solution. Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. Most people suffer because they cling to what's beyond their reach, other people's actions, external events, the past. But when you focus on what you can control, your actions, thoughts, and responses, life becomes simpler. Look around. People waste energy raging over traffic, obsessing over others' opinions, or dwelling on past mistakes. None of it changes. Reality, it only weakens them. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The time spent worrying about what you can't control is time stolen from what you can. You can't control the economy, but you can control your work ethic. You can't control what others think, but you can control how you respond. You can't change the past, but you can shape what comes next. The strongest people don't fight reality, they adapt. They don't seek revenge, dwell on unfairness, or complain. They focus on what's within their power and let go of the rest. Imagine redirecting all your energy to what you can change. What if you ignored distractions and poured your focus into your habits, your discipline, your growth? You'd become unshakable. Obstacles would no longer be roadblocks, but challenges to overcome. Failure would become a lesson, not a defeat. Where is your focus? Are you trapped in frustration over things you can't influence? Or are you owning what's within your power? The moment you stop trying to control the world and start controlling yourself, you become unstoppable. Time will pass anyway. Time is the one resource you can never reclaim. It moves forward, relentless and unforgiving, whether you use it or waste it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Yet most people live as if they have forever, delaying action, avoiding challenges, assuming they'll start someday. But someday never comes. 5 years from now, you'll either be proud of the life you've built or regretful of the time you've lost. The choice is yours. Psychology calls this temporal discounting, prioritizing short-term comfort over long-term success. It's why people procrastinate, telling themselves they'll start next week, next month, next year. But waiting doesn't preserve time, it wastes it. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Think of the hours lost to scrolling, the days spent overthinking, the months waiting for motivation that never came. Now imagine if you'd used that time to build, to grow, to act. Successful people don't wait for perfect conditions. They move with time. They understand that every action, no matter how small, compounds over time. There are two types of people: those who let time pass by accident, drifting and hoping, and those who make time work with intention, acting now to shape their future. Which are you? If you keep living as you are, where will you be in a year? In 5 years? Time doesn't keep you in place. It either moves you forward or leaves you behind. Regret stings not because of what you did, but because of what you didn't. Do the risks you avoided, the opportunities you missed, the potential you never pursued. Failure teaches. Inaction leaves you with nothing but what ifs. So what's stopping you? Fear? Doubt? The belief you're not ready? None of that matters. Time is passing right now. Use it or lose it. Call to action: if these principles are sparking a change in you, hit that like button and subscribe to the Daily Stoic Life for more Stoic wisdom to transform your life. Share in the comments, what's one action you'll take today to make time work for you? Make time you're alive. As Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus didn't just preach philosophy. They lived it. They understood that success isn't built in grand, cinematic moments, but in small, consistent actions taken day after day. You don't need the perfect moment, more motivation, or flawless conditions. You need to start. Every challenge is a chance to train your mind. Every doubt is a test. Every setback is a lesson. If you wait for everything to align, you'll wake up years from now wondering where the time went. But if you act today, even with one small step, you set in motion a force that can't be stopped. What's one area in your life where you've been hesitating? Share your story in the comments. Your journey might inspire someone else to take action. And if you're ready to transform your life with Stoic principles, join our community at the Daily Stoic Life. Subscribe now to get daily insights, practical strategies, and the motivation to live a life of purpose and discipline. Don't let time slip away. Make it count, starting today.